Louis.
Powered by STL Medical Weight Loss. See the Dr. Joe difference at stlmedweightloss.com.
And good morning and welcome. This is the Control Option Press Box. It is not, because I just taped that. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. Greg Willard will join us at 10:35. Dr. Curtis Kane from the Rockwood School District, he's the school superintendent, on how the school cell phone ban is going, which is a hot topic that's got everybody interested. And we have a wonderful program lined up for you today. It's just going to be beautiful because everything in St. Louis is absolutely positive. Jill, good to be with you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How's your energy level this morning, considering you worked, about 14-hour days for the last 9 days straight?
It was a lot of fun. My only downside was I didn't get the Bill Murray interview. We kind of waited for it. We shot his concert, and there was a musician in the stands that I recognized. In fact, he played at Brooke's wedding. I said, "What do you think of the music?" He goes, "It's actually not bad."
Oh, good.
Yeah, and they played some, kind of blues. I think they're called the Blood Brothers.
And just for a tiny bit of context, in case somebody was out of town this weekend, Confluence Music Festival, as part of course, the huge NASCAR race over at Worldwide Technology Raceways, and some great headliners. And one of the bands was Bill Murray's band. You don't think of him as a musician, but he's a music lover who now tours with his band.
He wore a Cubs outfit, Jill, and he kind of taunted Cardinal fans. 2025, kind of a rough year, huh? Which is,
some Cardinals fans usually have a sense of humor about that to some degree. Did they take
Bill Murray, it was okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And Adam Wainwright performed on that same stage the night before. They had wrestling out there. It was pretty crazy. It was a huge crowd. In fact, I just texted them to find out what the total number is, because I don't think you can just judge on Sunday. But like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm telling you, I was there at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. The thing was just rocking. Sunday, 11 o'clock. I mean, it was packed and rocking the whole time.
Yep. I had friends at the Mizzou game, said it was best ever, beautiful day, people at the raceways, people at multiple Cardinals games this weekend. Of course, good St. Louis crowd, it sounds like, showing for the golf tournament. So same thing at the, my whole Facebook feed is full of people who had a great time at the art fair. So
yes,
we put on our pretty dress for the weekend weather-wise, and it delivered.
And you, being the sports junkie you are, went to the Cardinal game on Saturday night.
I did go to the Cardinals
unbelievable
game.
No, here's my question. I thought about you. Did you stay? Because it was the worst game ever for 8 innings, and the Cardinals score 3 in the 9th and win it.
We were getting ready to leave before they scored the 3, and then we ended up standing and watching the last part of the game.
There's nothing worse than walking to the car and you hear this big roar and you sat through 3 hours of boredom. Oh my gosh, they won the game.
That's right. And then you hear that's happened to us before. We hear the fireworks. It's not.
And
good.
we've all done it. It's beat the crowd, and then you just feel terrible about it.
There's
famous stories about people leaving games early, and it was on some historic moment.
Yes, we did that once with the kids when they were little, because that was back when it was a long drive home.
Yes.
It was a school night. They were there for some, and we said, we got to go. And Albert Pujols scored a grand slam home run, and fireworks, the whole thing, and the kids were just crying in the car. You made us leave before the best part.
I wonder if we should try to get Randy Naughton on for a couple of minutes today, because that was the greatest first week regular season game I can ever remember. In fact, the Bills became the first team in NFL history to overcome a 15-point deficit in the final 4 minutes of the fourth quarter to win a season opener. That's per Elias, but I don't know anybody who wasn't watching that thing. It was just, it's just crazy how much fun it was. That game was to watch last night.
Yeah, it was definitely not what you usually expect that early in the season, for sure. And she's got a fun story to tell about the Bills. So,
and she is, for people who don't know it, the former great Fox 2 anchor and sportscaster. But she has season tickets living in St. Louis to Buffalo Bills games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the last season of this famous stadium. Her sister and family members have had them for years, and she was like, "I'm joining in the fun. I'm getting them. Southwest flies directly there. I've got some points lined up here. I'm just going to do it."
I just can't imagine what it must have been like if she was in the stands yesterday, which I'm sure she went to opening night. Wow. That just...
Yep, we'll see if we can... I've reached out. We'll see if we can get her just to give us some insights, first-person insights on that.
Let's open up to our audience on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line. What did you hit this weekend? The art fair, the race, the Cardinal game, Hall of Fame weekend, the golf tournament, and give us your take on the most enjoyable thing you saw in person this weekend.
I love this from the Royal Banks of Missouri text line. The young St. Louis woman sang the national anthem at Saturday's race was out of this world.
Oh, that's great. Okay, let's take our first break. We'll have the opening dialogue when we come back.
It's Julie Buck, and I'm here with Jeff Zufall, the senior tax strategist and wealth advisor at Capital Advisory Group. He's also the author of the #1 best-selling book on the new tax laws called Keep What's Yours. So, Jeff, as we roll into September, what are some good strategies that we can have to save money by the end of the year and help our employees?
Since 1976, thousands of businesses have relied upon the tax strategies provided by Capital Advisory Group to help them create benefits that attract great employees, reduce their future tax liability, and end overpaying their federal and state income taxes. If you are thinking about selling your business or perhaps planning retirement, then let us help you implement tax strategies that could reduce taxes on your savings and maximize your Social Security benefits.
Give Capital Advisory Group a call at 636-394-5524. That's 636-394-5524. Or go online, capitaladvisorygrp.com.
Hey, Ed Brock, everybody. If you love Halloween like I do yourself a favor and visit Johnny Brock's Dungeon. Why shop those tiny pop-up shops when you can shop 30,000 square feet of locally owned Halloween fun? We're open all year at I-44 in Jefferson on the edge of Soulard. Johnny Brock's Dungeon, a St. Louis must-see.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
When it comes to mortgage lenders, I know you have no shortage of options. But are you working with someone local who can truly simplify the process? I'm David Goldberg with the Goldberg Group, and as a St. Louis home purchase expert, I know this market inside and out. I specialize in tough-to-complete situations for borrowers who are self-employed, looking to buy and sell at the same time, and may have been turned down somewhere else. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or seasoned homeowner, you can trust me with all of your home financing needs. Call or text me at 314-471-4030. 314-471-4030.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset. Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a banner day.
Kids don't always like to get school report cards, but they are important and helpful. They document subjects where they're strong and others where they need to show some improvement. Ever wonder why you don't get a report on how your child's school compares to others? At the Show Me Institute, we think you should, and that's why we've started the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org, and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on several categories, such as student performance in English, language arts, and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district will have a grade, and the website is easy to use. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Now you can. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
And now the opening dialogue with Frank and Jill on the Big 550 KTRS. Powered by Worldwide Technology Raceway.
All right, thought one. One of the biggest things on social media nationally was the woman stealing the baseball from the kid. So many messages in this saga. Harrison Bader hit a homer on Friday against the Marlins in Miami. Several fans tried to get the ball. One fan secured it by being alert and got the right roll. It was rugged individualism the American way. A father did nothing wrong, but he hustled, got the ball, and gave it to his son. Cool moment. Didn't last long. A woman who was also trying to get the ball, walks over to the father and son and demands the baseball, berates the father, and says, "That should be my baseball." The father meekly handed over the baseball. He said later, "I pretty much just wanted her to go away." But the two organizations then did the right thing. He got a gift bag from the Marlins, and Harrison Bader signed a bat for the boy. You'd rather have a bat than a ball for sure. Anyway, so many things wrong. First, the woman. Everything she did was wrong. There are no rules on trying to get a foul ball. It's read and react. And then to berate the man, then to actually take the baseball. What's the definition of the name Karen? And the dad, what did he teach his son? Even though you worked, even though you are right, you fold like a napkin. You won, you got the ball, and you did nothing wrong. You didn't knock her over. Thoughts? How out of line was the woman? And what about the dad? Royal Banks of Missouri text line 84126.
Okay, I'm going to push back automatically on you because I listened to the whole soundbite with the dad, and he said what I was trying to model for my son is de-escalation when somebody else is completely emotionally dysregulated and there's no reasoning with them, that sometimes you de-escalate a situation to avoid drama and for other people to not have a negative situation take over their experience. So
And
I think he did exactly the right
your
thing.
Professionalism, but I think it's poppycock.
Yeah.
You got a ball for your son, and you didn't do anything wrong. Believe me, I'm the last person to ever create any kind of stir, and there's a part of me that would have thought about that just to have this crazy woman go away, but it's ball I got, and it's for my son. I would not give it
Right,
up.
but when you are dealing with somebody who is not rational at times, you can stand up and quote, be right, but you can create a situation that can sometimes, in certain situations, it even leads to violence. So his thought that it was going to de-escalate, it worked out great. He's coming out. His kid gets the best ball
But he
ever.
is getting absolutely killed on social media. Not that that matters, but I think
if
most of
people
America agrees with that father should have kept that baseball for his son.
Okay,
Now, granted, the end result, hey, you
How
got
do you-
Harrison
I mean,
Bader.
I think the loudest people on social media may agree. And I think the people that stopped the narrative without the full facts, as you did here too, by saying he just said, fine, you can have it. No, he said something more. We played it on our news this morning. It was just in ABC News at the top of the hour. He said, I chose to do that to de-escalate a situation with an irrational person. And I think that's one of those cases where you can take the headline and react and decide you're going to name call the guy, but when you actually listen to what he said, I think that we all are wise enough to be reasonable about situations like that. Nothing makes you feel better about where you lived than playing tour guide to out-of-town friends. Never been to St. Louis before, and it's pretty fun when they fall in love with your city on a weekend visit. That's what happened past few days, hosting friends from Salt Lake City, Utah. They had driven or flown through our fair town in the past, but they'd never been here. When a family trip brought them to Kansas City, they decided to pop over to St. Louis for the weekend so we could catch up. Now, perfect weather, of course, helped, added to the luster. Highlights included leisurely strolls through Lafayette Park, where bridal parties posing on the remarkable wrought iron bridge and swans perfectly placed in the pond made for quite a tableau. Our sunset supper on the patio at McGurk's, really fun, festive. They loved it, blown away by trying out toasted ravioli for the first time.
Oh, nice.
They were just out of their mind excited about the new cathedral. A friendly docent regaled us with facts about the incredible mosaic creations inside, including the 42 million locally made glass tiles that it took to create the masterpiece above our head. Left my friends speechless. They said it rivaled any of the churches, cathedrals, or temples they've seen traveling around the world. We forget that sometimes here, but it is incredible. They were awed by the scale of the arch. They thought the free museum was top-notch, and being in front of the Mississippi with those majestic steps was lovely. Saturday night, as you mentioned, perfect night, come from behind win with the Cardinals. And one of the things that I think we take so for granted at our city is the architecture. Frank, they must have told me 50 times this weekend. Look at that building. Look at those houses. Look at the incredible architecture. When you live someplace that just doesn't have those historical structures, you really notice it, and it helps us to pay more attention to them as well.
Very nice. All right. Let's see. Thought two, the weekend in St. Louis. I think Governor Kehoe said it best to me on camera last night. We'll air the bite later on today. On Friday, I had Jack Nicklaus on my right and Jackie Smith on my left. We've done pretty good in St. Louis. Another GOAT was in town also, Michael Jordan. He was in town for the Enjoy Illinois 300. Bill Murray performed before the race and then yelled, "Gentlemen, start your engines." The place was packed early. It was rocking, so cool that a great driver like Denny Hamlin won the race. Then at Norwood at the Stiefel Charity Classic, it went to a playoff. Thomas Bjorn hit a 40-footer in the playoff for his first ever win. He was 0 for 39. He needed a sponsor exemption to get into the tournament last year, so he is really a long shot. And then the Mizzou Tigers on a game heard right here on KTRS. Oh, my goodness, the St. Louis kids, what they did in that game. Brett Norfleet, Kevin Coleman, Jamal Roberts, Francis Howe, and St. Mary's combined for 4 touchdowns and 331 yards. And this quarterback, not from St. Louis, Bo Pribula, he looks like Josh Allen after 2 games. So everything positive on the St. Louis sports front, not to mention the Cardinals have won their 3rd consecutive series.
Yep, it makes proud to be a sports fan from that. Okay, you guys have heard about this before because we talked about it, I think, last year. I know something that has been losing favor for the last year, bare minimum Mondays. It was a workplace trend that for some, it was the cause of so many viral social media posts back a few years ago. Now being used once again, more recently this weekend, as a warning by some employers. They say the job market is tight, getting tighter, so bare minimum Mondays no longer recommended. You may remember the original idea of bare minimum Mondays is that instead of sprinting into the week and stressing ourselves out, we spend Monday mornings doing the essentials, answering the most urgent emails, checking a few key boxes, easing into the week, saying experts were telling us it avoids burnout. Other people saying, nope, just a fancy name for slacking off, and it just can't be tolerated in the current job market. So I'm curious, do you guys like the ideas of easing into your wake, or should Mondays still mean full steam ahead? It is interesting.
Well, that's a great concept. You'd like to ease into it, yeah.
I know. And I think the idea of bare minimum is what throws people off because it is the idea that you're doing less than you should. And I think it is fair to say the job market is tightening. And so it's things that people maybe had a little more leeway around. Employers have a little more leverage to hold a different level of accountability. Are you guys noticing any of that in your jobs? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think we should go to the European, the 4-day work week and siestas in the middle of the day. I'd be in favor of all that stuff.
Well, especially since you worked. Seriously, I think you've worked for the last 14 plus days straight.
No, I'm in favor of that. All right, thought 3. So USA Today had an interesting article on Friday. I'm sure we're going to get a good response from this from our Royal Banks of Missouri text line 84126. It's about marrying for money or for love. 46% said they would marry for money rather than love. I wonder what the breakdown is for men and women on that stat. 33% said they would consider getting back with their ex if that person suddenly became wealthy. Can you imagine that? You had this marriage, it doesn't work out, maybe it's a terrible divorce. Oh, you won the lottery? You know what? On second thought, I want to get back. I didn't really love you. 48% said they would not date someone without a job, even if they were attracted to them. I'd love to know the breakdown, men and women, on that one. Don't you think it'd be like men would be really shallow? Oh, I don't care if you have a job, if I like the way you look. Don't you think that would be a big disparity in statistics? 48%, Jill, said that they would not date someone without a job, even if they were attracted to them. See, I wouldn't think that'd be, because men are much more shallow, would be that much of a deal breaker for men.
Well, I think it depends on.
Sure, I'd like to have our wife have a great job too.
I think it's very generational, at least in my experience when I've looked at the data on that. Right, so the younger people, there used to be expectations, maybe of people 60 and above, that there was a breadwinner. More men were going to be responsible for breadwinning and a majority of the finances in a family. Now, couples coming into marriage are expecting that it's going to be 50-50 or closer to it. And so, if the men were younger in the poll, I could say that they would say, "Well, of course." Why should one person have to have the entire brunt of the financial responsibility in a family?
With that said, young Dom has said, it'd be better probably to marry a girl that didn't have a lot of student debt, the way you phrased it. All right. So the question is, would you marry for money? On the average, women want their ideal partner to earn $110,000, and would like their ideal wife to earn $90,000. So it's some lofty expectations according to this USA Today poll.
Yeah, and a couple people weighing in on the can we ease into our bare minimum Mondays? They said slacking off on a Friday is, by the way, pretty acceptable generally. Somebody else saying, I do feel like people are already doing bare minimum Fridays. So if we have bare minimum Mondays and bare minimum Fridays, I guess that only leaves a 2-day work week. Fair point. More people, according to the Missouri Independent report this morning, heading to Missouri dispensaries to buy cannabis products. We are apparently really helping to lead the nation, spending more money when people go to the cannabis dispensaries in our state. We had one of the biggest cannabis conferences, as a matter of fact, in St. Louis, and that was where where Missouri as a standout in the business was first announced. Dispensaries in other states offering steep discounts to try to attract customers. Missouri prices remain steady. In Missouri, apparently the average shopper at a dispensary spends about $65. The average price is around $61. The average in other states is around $61. So we're ahead of the game, but most people are still spending, I don't know, at least the price of a good, decent meal out for one person when they go to the dispensaries.
The average price for one person is
$65 in Missouri, $61 nationwide.
That seems kind of high.
Yeah, I would think so too. But the average price of per product, this surprised me, was about $25. So you can't go in and spend less than $25 if you go to a dispensary.
You got a thought on that?
Well, I was going to say, do you know what the price should be? You got a lot of thoughts on the pricing of marijuana?
But it does seem high.
Yeah, I have to say I'm not an expert, but it is provides great relief and joy to a lot of people. No
Has
judgment.
Cannabis ever worked for you?
No, I do a CBD sometimes for inflammation, but I'm one of those people that THC doesn't get along with very well.
I maybe tried it once or twice. Just gives me a headache.
Yeah, it makes my heart beat, makes me a little nauseated. But a lot of other people feel different about it, and no judgment. Your choice, your body, your choice.
All right. When we come back, he's our favorite guest. He is Professor Greg Willard from St. Louis University.
A message from the master. If you are looking for that one-of-a-kind gift this year, come on in to Newssetter's Fine Jewelers. Let Richard draw your future present for somebody you love. This special engraving lasts a lifetime. At the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
It's Julie Buck inviting you to join my friends at AAA Travel for a special travel event on September 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the St. Peter's Cultural Arts Center to learn more about river cruising with Viking, the world's leading river cruise line. Viking offers destinations on the great rivers of Europe, Asia, and Egypt. Space is limited. RSVP today and learn more about river cruising with Viking on September 17th. For more information, go to AAA.com/travel show.
I'm Mark Cantor. Here's why you can count on Cantor Injury Law.
My name is Michelle. I'm a litigation paralegal at Cantor Injury Law, and you can count on Cantor because we are smart, honest, and hardworking.
I'm Kevin Glenn, and a partner here at Cantor Injury Law. You can count on Cantor because we make your cause our cause.
No fee if no recovery. Please visit CantorInjuryLaw.com or call us at 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi, this is Stuart Rosenblum, president of Stewart's American Mortgage.
Stewie!
Mortgages are the biggest investment that a person's going to make in their life, yet most people don't know anything about it. Tune in for Mortgages and More with Stewie. That's me, where we can go over all the different types of mortgage programs in simple terms. You, me,
Stewie!
You'll become an expert after the first show.
Listen to Mortgages and More with Stewie, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on KTRS.
Hey, it's Julie Buck for our friends at Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution, and they've been in St. Louis for over 20 years with 2 locations, one at Clayton and Lindbergh, and the other one just west of 270 on Olive. If you've got your own business and you want to have a better banking experience, look no further than Triad Bank. Their mission is to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services to you and your business. For more, go to triadbanking.com.
Got gold? You
Get green at Jewels on Hampton. Jewels on Hampton pays the most for your precious metals, jewelry, gems, currency, antiques, and collectibles. Jewels on Hampton buys precious and semi-precious gems and stones, scrap gold, and sterling silver. Jewels on Hampton buys and sells paper money, wristwatches, and pocket watches. They even take pianos and cars. To sum up, bring your gold chains, bracelets, rings, coins, dental gold, and more to Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton Avenue in St. Louis. And get green. Online at jewelsonhampton.com.
Hey, it's Heidi, and I've only sold 2 houses, but I know how stressful it can be. I also know the team at Lauren Risley Realty makes the entire process as easy as possible. I watched Lauren work with friends and my parents, and I can say she is top-notch. She doesn't just know the market, she knows what to look for in a home, and that includes red flags. And through all of it, she is calm, cool, and kind. So if you're in the market to buy or sell a home, or if you just have a question, call Lauren Risley Realty, 314-775-0684, or go to laurenrisleyrealty.com.
The big beautiful tax bill just passed. Do you know how these changes will affect your financial plan? What changes has your financial advisor made to take advantage of these opportunities before they expire? Join me, Kevin Lloyd, for my next tax workshop, 314-641-1010. Learn how these changes can benefit you and your family. 314-641-1010.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPLA, registered investment advisor, member FINRA, SIPC.
Mom, what do you always say?
There's nothing sadder than jewelry that sits in a drawer.
That's why we are proud to offer jewelry repair on site at Newssetter's Fine Jewelry. We know that your jewelry is important to you, and we take that part of our job very seriously. Visit us at Doherty Ferry in Big Bend or learn more at wowdiamonds.com.
All right, we are back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. Greg Willard is in the house, and yesterday he was at Norwood Hills Country Club watching the Stiefel Charity Classic. How about a story? What jumped out at you?
Had a wonderful day with my 11-year-old grandson, Emmerich Willard. We were walking the course, and a ball comes flying through the rough, lodged behind a big Norwood pin oak. The ball was hit by none other than Stuart Sink, who was leading the tournament. And the ball landed about 5 feet in front of young Emmerich's shoes. Sink came up, and I thought he was going to just hit out into the fairway, but instead he decided he was going to go for it with this big slice around this pin oak. The sun was right behind Emmerich's back, and his shadow was a big shadow right next to Stuart Sink's golf ball. Sink got ready to hit, turned, walked to Emmerich and said, would you mind holding real still when I hit this shot? Emmerich said, yes, sir. And young Emmerich stood there like a granite statue. Sink hits this phenomenal shot, big slice, ends up about 12 feet from the hole. Crowd roared, cheered. Sink starts down the hill. Suddenly he stops. He turns and comes back up the hill to Emmerich, bends over and says, thanks for standing so still when I hit that shot.
Oh, my gosh. A guy about to, could be winning a tournament takes the time to go back.
Yes. We talk a lot, Frank and Jill, about things that are difficult in our world, and including recent events at sporting events. But I want to bear witness that Mr. Stuart Sink showed an act of grace to a little young man in St. Louis, Missouri, who 50 years from now will still be remembering Stuart Sink's grace.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
really good stuff. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this Missouri special session, particularly on the proposed change in the way constitutional amendments voted on here. Some Missouri Independent reporting that the GOP bill would make it virtually impossible to change Missouri law by the initiative process. Help us understand what that means in layperson's terms.
The important thing, I think, for listeners to understand is context. And I don't mean to get down into the law weeds, but I think it's important. We live in a democracy in America, but but not a pure democracy. In a pure democracy, 50.1% of the people rule. We live in a constitutional democracy or a constitutional republic. What that means, Jill, is that the majority doesn't have complete rule. It's the Constitution that rules. Therefore, when we talk about amending the Constitution, we have to keep that in mind, that our state constitution, our federal constitution, it's there to protect all of us 100%, not 51-49, not 80-20. This discussion about, well, this is how we'll amend the Missouri Constitution. And our proposal is if a majority of the legislature wants to put a petition on the ballot, well, we'll have a lower vote total that will be needed to amend it. But if the citizens of Missouri propose an amendment to the Constitution, oh, well, that'll be a higher vote. Whether either of those is good or bad, the citizens of Missouri can decide. But just as an observation, not as a political statement, the Missouri legislature ought to be showing a little more respect, not only to the people of Missouri, but to the constitutional form of government that we have in Missouri. And by coming up with these harebrained, different percentages to prevail, depending on who the proponent of a constitutional amendment is, that's embarrassing. Period. Full stop.
All right, let's go to the big national story about Trump and Chicago. His quote, "We're not going to war, we're going to clean up our cities." What can he legally do, and what do you think he's going to end up doing in Chicago?
I think he will send in National Guard, and I hesitated there, and I'll come back to that in a minute. What he can do is, as he did in Los Angeles recently, as President Eisenhower did in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1957, integrating the public schools down there, is he can federalize or nationalize the state National Guard. And he may go ahead and do that. But that's a big step. Back to my colloquy with Jill a moment ago, that goes to the core of our constitutional government and this federal system of federal and state. I think if I were a betting man, Frank, I bet that President Trump goes forward. The reality is National Guard individuals, they're not trained in law enforcement. So perhaps their presence on the streets of Chicago will have an effect and will slow the gangbangers down from crime sprees that go on 7 days a week up there. But for them to, for anyone to expect that putting National Guard troops on the streets of Chicago is going to bend the crime curve up there like an inverted hockey stick, that's not going to happen, Frank.
Question from a texter, if you don't mind. Professor, it seems to me with everything the legislature does with overturning our votes and this current possible bill, they don't respect the voters of the state. They want to try to control us. What are your thoughts on that? I know those are two separate issues in some ways, but related.
Well, as always, our texters are so smart and so penetrating with their thoughts and comments. There is a phrase often used in the context of talking about democracy. The phrase is tyranny of the majority. That phrase is one of the cornerstones of our constitutional system of government. The framers of the Constitution, the United States Constitution in the late 1700s, and the framers of the Missouri Constitution in the early 1800s, and then the subsequent new constitutions, one of the cornerstones of those, Jill, is to protect all 100% of the citizens of Missouri against the tyranny of the majority. When the citizens of a state, in this case Missouri, pass a petition to change a law in Missouri, when a majority then of the General Assembly rejects and rebukes those voters and throws out that initiative, that is what the tyranny of the majority looks like. And it's a very sad day when that happens in America.
That's why we have checks and balances, many would say.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got it.
So Governor Keogh was at the golf tournament yesterday, and we were chatting because we had Rex Singfield in here a few months back, and he said that one of his passions right now for the state is to get rid of the state income tax. And I look at some states like Florida and Tennessee and Texas who seem to have it going right now. What's the downside, and how can you make this happen? Is it a good thing?
I guess the box looks like this, Frank. The box is what are the expenses of a state government? Missouri, Texas, Florida. So let's say there are $100 a year, that the state spends $100 a year. Well, the state has to fund that, and it funds it through taxes. Many states fund that with income taxes. Florida does not. But Florida has significant tourism taxes
and high sales
and
taxes.
high sales taxes and high property taxes. So if we go to a no income tax system in Missouri, a lot of people will applaud that. The flip side of that coin is we still have $100 in expenses. How do we pay for that? If I were to look in my crystal ball, I would see a big red light blinking for property tax increases.
So you think it's going to end up being a push? But then you got a guy like Singfield who's so smart, who's gone over all these numbers, who thinks it could work.
Well, it can work, but working in terms of coming up with the money is one thing.
Yeah.
Working in terms of the body politic supporting it, but if, for example, in Missouri, if property taxes go up, who's that on a per capita basis going to affect the most?
Yeah.
The farmers. Good luck with that one, Frank. So it may work, but again, I urge our listeners just to keep that little box that I mentioned in mind when they hear this discussion. And the box is, this is how much money has to go out. And the other side of that box is, where are we going to get the money in lieu of income taxes to fill up that box for $100? It could work, but I guess I will give you another blinking light in my crystal ball. There's a lot of folks that will be hurt by not having an income tax system, and how that gets sorted out remains to be seen.
Before we let you go, there were Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett interviews. She's written a book, and so we saw her first TV interview since stepping into her role as justice. Many are saying that she may end up being the most important member or one of the Supreme Court in modern times right now, because she has proven herself to not just go one way or the other in terms of politics on a couple of recent decisions. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's right. A couple of things. Whatever your political, ideological leaning is, Jill, or one of our listeners is, whether it's way out there in left field, way out there in right field, one cannot help but watch her interview with Nora O'Donnell and just be impressed with her poise, her thoughtfulness, her insights. wholly irrespective, that comment is wholly irrespective of any ideological views some of us might have. This notion about her statistical importance on the court is very true. And again, I'm not talking ideology, I'm just talking statistics. The last few years, statistically, Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson have been a pretty reliable block, and Alito, Thomas, and Gorsuch have been a pretty reliable block in terms of their votes. Well, that leaves Justice Barrett and Chief Justice Roberts. They, I think, are emerging what observers call as the swing votes on some, not most, certainly not all, on some cases that will come before the court. Back to my crystal ball with Frank a moment ago, Jill, I'll use it with you. The Trump administration has asked the court to hear this case about the constitutionality of President Trump's tariffs. And they have St. Louis's own John Sauer, who's the Solicitor General, asked that that be expedited. If it is, it will be heard within a matter of 2 to 3 months, and we'll get a decision probably early next year. My crystal ball tells me that that decision highly likely will be decided on the basis of the votes of Amy Coney Barrett and John Roberts. Remains to be seen, but those two votes, particularly if you have three either way, that's the magic number at the U.S. Supreme Court is 5, and if you can get 5 votes, you will prevail. They may be the two critical votes to get one side or the other to 5.
One more. I know we're late for break, but you're the best. I don't care. Along the lines of Supreme Court justices, why wouldn't the party in power, if they have someone really old on their side, why wouldn't they go to that person and say, for the good of the party, although you're not supposed to be aligned with the party, we need you to step down so I can name one that's going to be on my side? I mean, why wouldn't they have done that in the, like, for instance, Clarence Thomas is 77.
Right. So let's just give a hypothetical. Yeah. Hypothetical in size 78 font with bold lettering. This is a hypothetical. Someone goes to Justice Clarence Thomas, who I think is in his late 70s, and says, Mr. Justice, we think it would be a good idea if you step aside while we have a Republican president and a Republican majority in the Senate. And behind the scenes, they're thinking about nominating, among others, St. Louis's own John Sauer. That all sounds good, perhaps, Frank, in cloakroom talk. It has happened in the past. It did not go well for the people who were favoring that action.
Really? Okay.
History tells us, we don't have video evidence, but history books tell us that those initiatives have gone forward. Justice William Douglas, back in the late 60s and 70s, very elderly and was suffering the effects of old age. And the efforts to try to get him to step down did not go well. Again, for political cloakroom talk, it makes for great fodder. I think the history books would teach us, Frank, be very careful if you're in favor of that.
Good stuff. Thanks
Thank you,
so
sir.
much.
Great to see you.
Great to be with you. Stay safe.
Altair Travel and Cruises, our friends, in addition to always loving to hear the perspective of Greg Willard, we always love to hear their perspective on things as well. And, of course, not on politics, life, or law, but on travel. One of those things that is a great change the channel in your brain. If you get tired of feeling like you're stuck in a rut, if we're going into a new season and we are here a new season of the year and you're going, gosh darn it, another summer went by and we didn't get that trip we were going to take, or we couldn't get everybody organized to make decisions. It's just too hard to get everybody to agree. Why don't you hand over the reins and let the experts at Altair be the ones who help you make those decisions, who help take care of all the details. AltairTravel.com. Altair Travel and Cruises, 314-968-9600.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
Our stretch of fall-like weather is coming to an end after today. You can still get out and enjoy the cooler start that we have to your Monday and an afternoon high of 78 degrees. Still warm in the afternoon because of that sun directly overhead and few clouds to block it. Tonight, the temperatures falling into the 50s and expect a warm up through the rest of the week. 90s are coming our way soon. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast for the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
Repairing chimneys, walkways, porches, foundations, entire homes, anything to do with brick or stone, you need a tuck pointer you can trust, and that, of course, is Morelli. Morelli is a family-run business started in 1991, and they're only as good as their last customer. That's why when you check out the reviews online at MorelliTuckPointing.com, you'll notice that they're actual customers who are singing the praises of Morelli. So if you need a tuck pointer, you need Morelli. 314-645-1387 or MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Missouri Show Me 5 hospitals are leading the way in becoming baby-friendly. Hospital practices play a huge role in supporting families with infant feeding choices and breastfeeding success. Show Me 5 hospitals are committed to creating a welcoming, supportive environment for moms and babies. Want to find a Show Me 5 certified hospital near you? Learn more about what makes a hospital baby-friendly and see a list of participating hospitals at health.mo.gov/Show Me 5.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Thanks, Farmer Dave. Summer may be winding down, but that means the great weather is moving in. Time to get the convertibles, motorcycles, and sports cars out. We're selling them at a brisk pace. As a result, we need to buy even more of them. You have a very clean, classic, collectible, convertible, sports car, or even an everyday car you want to sell. How about an entire collection? We'll buy it all. And if we're buying them, of course we sell them too. Check out our site for some of the finest hand-picked vehicles for sale in the country. Ours are that good. Give us a look. It'll be worth your time.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit MasterCarsInc.com to get more details. That's MasterCarsInc.com.
Mizzou football on the Big 550 KTRS is powered by Royal Banks of Missouri. This Saturday afternoon, Mizzou welcomes the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns to Furrow Field. Pre-game at 1, kickoff at 3. Catch all the action right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you. bishopspost.com.
Many of you know this because you have had this job for a loved one or somebody you care about. Finding the right memory care community, it's daunting. There's a lot of choices, which can be a good thing in St. Louis, but you want to make sure you find the right place for your loved one. And when you do that, you want to look for the experts. Park Provence does an exceptional job of making sure that some of the leading experts in the United States, not just in St. Louis, but in the whole country, are the people making the medical decisions for those who need memory care assistance at Park Provence. Park Provence's medical director, Dr. David B. Carr, professor at Washington University School of Medicine, director for clinical services in the university's Division of Geriatrics and Gerontology. Whew, that's quite a title. And what it means for those of us who have simpler minds is he understands everything as it relates to dementia and the best care for keeping people comfortable and thriving as long as they can in the season of life when memory challenges become part of their day-to-day life. If you know somebody in your life, friend, neighbor, family member, partner, who is being challenged with dementia, and the time has come for them to be in the best place possible to care for them. Reach out to our friends at Park Provence at 314-542-2500 to learn more and schedule your tour. Frank, can we pop back into the text line today? Got some good ones. Several of you.
The great food you brought in.
I know.
So nice of you to do that.
Wow.
Jill brings more food than my mom. I mean, it's just the best.
Well, I never cook it, you notice, for then that's a benefit for all of you guys.
I tell the audience that you were so thoughtful. You went to the game on Saturday, and then you brought in unbelievable pastries for Connor, myself, and
well, I went to the game because you helped me get tickets to the game, which is one of the reasons I'm thanking you with the pastries. Well, it was great. We got to go. You got us those club seats.
Oh, you were in the. Oh my goodness!
So I had an amazing hot dog. I mean, of course, they're the best
yeah,
at
but
the.
They have like Caesar salads.
And I got a Caesar salad with my amazing hot dog, and it was really good. They had this beet salad.
The beet salad! I've had it. It's spectacular. I love beet salad.
I do too, actually, and I like gorgonzola, and it was chock full of those.
So you were just pounding down some food.
I was pounding down some
beers?
food. I had 0 beers.
Any drinks? Oh, they have mixed drinks up there.
I know, but I didn't have any. I just
they
had.
Even have pina coladas. I think.
I know, I didn't, but I was chatting away, and I didn't get around to doing that. Several of you pointing out that when Frank and I were a little bit clutching our pearls about the cost of how much people spend when they go to the dispensaries, they're like, people, these things last for months at a time, so quit clutching your pearls. That's how much it costs. Somebody else pointing out that a lot of people spend way more than $65 a weekend on drinks when they go out to bars. So why would we think it was any surprise that they would spend $65 when they would go to the dispensary? So good thoughts from you guys on that subject.
And we're both are not cannabis people. I'm not judging anybody that is, because if it can help stop your pain, go ahead and do it. I just kind of get headaches. Yeah,
I know.
Did you say you got headaches, or you did? It didn't work for you.
No, I get a heart. It's a little bit of heart racing and nausea, and I'm not that
any
fun.
Thoughts on this? Oh,
I was like, I got to go to break.
More experienced.
I mean, we've been having to go to break for the last minute, so let's go to break.
Duck that question for the first time in his career. All right, we'll take a break. We got a fun topic coming up about the school cell phone ban. Is it working in Rockwood? We'll be right back.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkas, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
The Big 550.
KTRS St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. More violence in the Middle East. 6 people are dead in Jerusalem after 2 gunmen opened fire at a bus stop. ABC News chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is on the scene.
This is exactly where that attack took place just after 10 o'clock this morning. 2 attackers who crossed over from the West Bank, opening fire on the bus and then getting on board. The terrified passengers trying to hide, but then a quick thinking off-duty soldier responding, getting on the bus and effectively killing the 2 attackers. Tragically, 6 people killed, over a dozen were injured.
Officials in Chicago are pushing back against the Trump administration as the city braces for additional immigration enforcement. ABC's Matt Rivers is outside the federal building in downtown Chicago.
Tall fencing up outside the building telling you that they are expecting more protests over the days to come. This after the president spent the weekend really zeroing in on Chicago, talking about both the city's crime problems as well as illegal immigration. The president even posting a manipulated image on social media, writing, I love the smell of deportations in the morning, a play, of course, off the movie Apocalypse Now.
Jury selection begins today in the trial of the man accused of trying to assassinate President Trump. Ryan Ruth has pleaded not guilty to 5 felony counts, included the attempted assassination of a presidential candidate.
He has called Trump a bunch of names, all of them unflattering. He's questioned the legitimacy of having Judge Eileen Cannon preside over the trial because he said she's a Trump appointee. How is that fair? She's refused to recuse herself. All the while, lost in all of that rhetoric is the very serious nature of what he's accused of.
ABC News chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky. It all began when then-candidate Trump was playing golf in Florida last year when Secret Service agents say they spotted the barrel of an assault-style rifle in the bushes. You're listening to ABC News.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkis, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
This is KTRS News. I'm Sobe Bay. There's a renewed effort to solve a decades-long murder case at a Dairy Queen in Ellisville. Here's KTRS's Jill Enders with the story.
On April 24th of 1980, police responded to a call just after 7 a.m. from the then owner of Dairy Queen in Ellisville, who reported finding the night manager deceased. 47-year-old Margaret Walsh had been shot to death. The office area of the store had been ransacked and a small sum of money was missing. She left behind 3 children. Now, anyone with any information is urged to call the Ellisville Police Department or Crime Stoppers at 1-866-371-TIPS. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
Walsh also worked as a secretary at Parkway South Middle School. Her killing remains the only homicide Ellisville has ever had. At least 4 people are hospitalized after a shooting in South St. Louis. Police say the victims were gunned down last night near the intersection of Cherokee Street and Nebraska Avenue. One of the victims is reportedly in critical condition. There's no word of any motive or arrest. A popular St. Louis food truck has been stolen, and now they're asking for your help to get it back. K-Bop STL says its food truck was stolen Friday night along Delmar Boulevard. They were supposed to be serving their Korean barbecue at 9 Mile Gardens Saturday in South County, but that couldn't happen. If you see the K-Bop STL truck, you're asked to call police. The Missouri House is voting on a redistricting plan today. The new map would reconfigure the 5th Congressional District, which runs from downtown Kansas City to mid-Missouri. Names of Republican candidates are also being floated around, should this come to pass. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports the possible candidates include State Senator Curtis Gregory, Katie Ashcroft, Derek Coates, and former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens. Catherine Hanaway is being sworn in as the Missouri Attorney General this morning. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe selected Hanaway to take over the Attorney General's office after Andrew Bailey announced he would be stepping down following an appointment as co-deputy director of the FBI. Hannity was elected the first female Speaker of the Missouri House in 2003. She then served as the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Missouri from 2005 to 2009. Hanaway is now the first female Attorney General for the state of Missouri and the first female appointed to a major statewide office under Governor Kehoe. Hall of Fame St. Louis Cardinals mascot Fred Bird is visiting with Shriners Children's St. Louis patients this morning. Fred Bird's visit is with children undergoing treatment for orthopedic conditions and hopefully take their minds off what can be a stressful clinical situation. This KTR's Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. St. Louis-based Carboline Global is suing Sherwin-Williams, alleging the Cleveland paintmaker falsely advertised one of its fire protection coatings for 3 years, causing the Missouri coatings maker hundreds of millions of dollars in lost sales. And now let's take a look at the markets, brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune in to Straight Talk on Retirement Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 a.m. On Wall Street right now, the Dow Jones is up 39 points to 45,440. S&P 500 is up 19 points to 6,500. The NASDAQ is up 149 points to 21,849. KTRS Sports, the Cardinals take 2 of 3 from the Giants with a 4-3 win at Busch. The victory puts the Birds back at the 500 mark with a road trip to Seattle beginning tonight. St. Louis City SC could not capitalize on a red card man advantage with dozens of shots on goal and had to settle for a 1-1 draw against FC Dallas. It leaves City with just 5 games remaining on the schedule to try and avoid a last-place finish. KTRS weather today, sunny, high of 77. Tonight, clear with an overnight low of 51. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds, high of 78. Currently, we have 68 degrees. The time is 11:07. I'm Sobe Bay, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
Welcome back to the second hour of the Frank and Jill Show. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano. Really happy to be joined by Dr. Curtis Kane, superintendent of the Rockwood Schools. Almost 20,000 students behind Special School District, the largest school district in our St. Louis area. And of course, a lot of talk end of last year about state law in Missouri saying we think kids can learn more when they go to school without having access to their cell phones every minute of the day. The legislators in Missouri agreed. It has become policy. And we were curious, Dr. Kane, now that we're a few weeks into the 2025-2026 school year, are educators noticing any differences in this change of not having students with cell phones?
I appreciate the opportunity to actually have this conversation. I would say that we're all making adjustments across the entirety of the state. What is unique for Rockwood is we actually had a pilot, district-wide pilot last year, and really investigated this notion of, hey, let's revisit what we're doing with cell phones in terms of allowing them within classroom spaces. And so last year, we had that conversation. We actually had a book study that we engaged in with parts of our community, our parents. I can tell you in all honesty, last school year, I never received an email or a phone call of complaint from a parent when it came to what we were doing last year.
What about right now as it's really in place? What type of opposition are you hearing?
Look, I think if we're going to be honest with ourselves, we've all been high schoolers, right? And so there's most definitely that need, right, that desire for connectivity. I think one of the pieces that our students most appreciate is consistency, right? If this is the expectation for this classroom, that it'd be that expectation for this classroom or that gymnasium. And so I think the more that we're consistent, the better off we're going to be. It's going to be an ongoing adjustment for our students, but I have a great deal of appreciation for how respectful students have been. And if we've had to remind a student, hey, will you put the cell phone up? They put it up, and we keep moving forward.
What's the data say about things like test performance, things like conflict among student behavior data? What does the data say about putting the cell phones away during the school day versus having access to them?
I would say that the data isn't overtly clear when it comes to at least the testing side of this, but all the ancillary conversations, right? The more you're able to keep that tap down and just keep the focus the main thing, which is what happens in classrooms, I think the more we do that, the better off we're ultimately going to be, not only as a school district, but I believe as a state as well.
So you mean the more that you can tamp down the distractions and the other things that don't have to do with learning?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. What about, are there any exceptions for any children who may have health issues or anything like that?
Yes, even per law, that's exactly what is allowed, is those exceptions, those cases where there's that need to monitor whatever the physical condition may happen to be, or very well could be. Those exceptions do exist. But by and large, we understand what the expectation is. And the truth is we have a state law. So any notion of debate from my mind, and I believe our perspective, is over with. Our job is now to comply, and we ultimately move forward.
From the Royal Banks of Missouri text line, one of our listeners would like to know, Dr. Curtis Kane, superintendent of the Rockwood Schools, he'd like to know how keeping cell phones out of the classroom matters when kids have computers in classrooms, and they can use those can't they just use those to scroll or talk to friends as well?
So there are apps that are banned and not actually accessible via our Chromebooks, our one-to-one initiative that we happen to have as a school district.
So the kids can't just text each other on computers then necessarily.
There are going to be students that try to find pathways around that. Like I said, we've all been there, right? And but the key is that we continue to have the structures in place that keep instruction at the forefront of what our energies look like on a daily basis. It is important that our students understand appropriate technology use, not only academically, but in other means as well. And so there are fewer textbooks that are in classrooms. They are actually increasingly on virtual environments, right? That are actually accessed via the one-to-one initiative that we happen to have. And so you're going to see that across the state as well. And so we want students to have access to that form of technology, but we understand we're going to ultimately comply with the law that we have in place.
I may have been texting when you answered this question, so I don't know if you answered the question, but what is the actual, what does it look like? Can they come to school and you put them in a big box? Can they do it at recess or at lunch? How quickly do they get the phones?
Very fair question.
Would you say it was a great question?
I'd say it's a very fair question. No, it's a fantastic question. It's a situation where it's the expectation now per law is from bell to bell. And so students are going to have the ability to bring the cell phone with them. They're simply supposed to be put up, out of sight, out of mind.
Okay.
Whether that's in the locker, whether it's in the backpack, the cell phone is to not be seen or heard throughout the course of the day.
And have there been instances where a teacher caught someone looking at it?
Look,
and what's the penalty?
If and when that happens, right, we simply ask the student to put the cell phone away. They understand what the expectation is. It's not a situation where we're going to keep going on and on over this, but you put the cell phone away. Most students are going to be, I'd say the vast majority of our students are going to be compliant and understand this is the rule of engagement. I'm going to stick and adhere to it, and we ultimately move forward.
And so do you see that this state law going to be in place from here on out? Is there anything in place to take a look at data, to take a look at information, to revisit what the actual impact is, since we have, the statewide decision here?
I believe there's a provision as it relates, not necessarily sunset, but I believe it's going to be used to actually examine kind of the practice, adherence to, and then looking at what the data may happen to suggest. But like I said, there's so much debate that's over with. We have a state law that's in place, and our job is to ultimately comply and move forward.
What do you think state-wise, how many states have done this? Do you have a rough idea of it? Or?
I know that there's been conversation amongst states. I'm aware of 3 or 4 that actually have it in place.
Have it or have not?
Have it. Actually,
okay, so
do have it in place.
we're one of the 3 or 4 in the country that's done
I am so busy keeping up with what's going on, not only in our district, within our state. I know that we're not the very first state to do so. I imagine that those that framed the legislation took a good, strong look at what was happening elsewhere and provided kind of a contextual overlay for how it's going to work within Missouri. But we're all having those conversations to figure out how do we keep the main thing the main thing. I lean on this a lot because I think it's important that our community understand, everyone from our parents to our students, the main thing's the main thing, and how do we support that and keep our students moving forward.
Main thing means you're here to learn, guys. That's really the bottom line. What are you hearing anecdotally from your teachers in the district about whether it's made life simpler, whether there's, in that adjustment period that you mentioned earlier, there's some enforcement stuff that's detracting from them? What are you hearing overall or anecdotally from them?
I would say anecdotally, this is a situation where people are aware of what the expectation is, and people are adhering to the expectation itself. Teachers have always had the right, and principals have always had the right, if in their building or within their respective classroom, according to our disciplinary guidelines, if they've wanted to say, hey, classrooms need to be put up under these situations, or not classrooms, sorry, cell phones need to be put up in classrooms during certain situations, they've absolutely had the right to do so. And so in some ways, it's the overall kind of comprehensive nature of this that looks different. But if a teacher wants to say in a classroom, hey, no cell phones during these times for these reasons, they've absolutely had that right to do so.
So Dr. Curtis Kane is with us. He's in charge of 19,000 students in the Rockwood School District. I've read where sometimes fights are escalated because of cell phones. Now, not that there's a lot of fights going on at Rockwood, but sometimes people want to deliver, that knockout punch so it goes viral. And I imagine that this is not the main reason, but a lot of people think that the reason we do have some problems is that everybody's got their cell phones in school. Any thoughts on that?
To be frank, I think that there are a lot of ways in which technology can go wrong. there are also a number of pathways in which technology can go right. To be really honest with you, I think the more appropriate behavior that we see from adults, truly modeling the behavior and the expectations that we want our students to engage in, the more we do that, not just throughout the course of the school day, in life as a whole, I think the stronger and the better our students are ultimately going to be moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that we should have maybe a cell phone or a texting ban when we're here in the studio, when we're listening to each other or to guests?
That would be impossible for me.
I think that's a conversation y'all can have. I will tell you, when I'm in high schools, I love to take pictures of what's happening instructionally within our spaces. I'm very mindful of how much I have the cell phone out.
Yeah.
Because I think it's almost harsh. I don't want to say cruel, but it sends a message when you're constantly on the device and the students actually can't be.
So, Dr. Kane, this will be a success 5 years from now if what type of data you get in return? What would be success?
We're always going to be looking at data holistically to make sure that students are progressing. I think that we will see students that understand how to manage this, not only over the course of the school day, but outside of the academic time as well. I think that's going to be really one of the hallmark or benchmarks of success when it comes to this. It's an important skill set that you need in the world of work, because there are work situations when you can't have, for a variety of reasons, your device out. It's okay to step away from this. It's going to be there. That's a promise. It's going to be there. It's okay to step away.
You ever have arguments at home with your wife, who's in the Pattonville School District, also a superintendent, assistant superintendent, about which school district is better? I think I lean towards Pattonville. I don't know.
You know, we make a lot of decisions in our household. And what I'm not going to do is dig a further hole at this point in time with an answer right
You're
now.
Run for office one day.
I don't think that will be happening.
Dr. Curtis Kane, Rockwood School Superintendent in charge of 19,000 people. We really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
Capital Advisory Group, Jeff Zufall, in charge of making sure that you have a nest egg to be able to support you through retirement. He's also very, very good at making sure you don't overpay on your taxes. That's one of the things that's his great passions in life. It's the reason that he wrote a #1 best-selling book on the topic, Keep What's Yours. It's the show he does every single weekend. Of course, you have to check your local listings because times are moving a little bit while we are in Mizzou football season. But Keep What's Yours, along with Josh Gilbert of the Heidi Glaus Show every weekend. It's free information for all of us, which can be really helpful. But if you're ready to get down to brass tacks when it comes to your taxes and trying to stop avoiding overpaying to make sure that your wealth is going to last you, or your money that you need is going to last you through retirement, just take the time today. Use it as your reminder on your to-do list this week to reach out to Jeff and his team. Capital Advisory, grp.com, 636-394-5524.
Drugs, and it's a good thing we've got Dr. Joe Molesky with us, a St. Louis native and board-certified primary care physician. Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
The magic cure is these weight loss shots. They're injected once weekly. They're not like the old medications that you've seen 20, 30 years ago. These medications actually work. They're injected once weekly, and patients see within the first 90 days 10 to 15 pounds down. It simply works, and that's why I recommend it to all of my patients. You simply go online, book an appointment, you fill out a health questionnaire form, you get an appointment on our schedule. It's all telemedicine based. It's all done from your home, and then you meet with me or one of my nurse practitioners, and then after the 10, 15-minute consult, the medication is delivered right to your door discreetly, and you get started right now on your weight loss journey.
And you want to start to lose weight? None better than to call stlmedweightloss.com and ask Dr. Joe. stlmedweightloss.com.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you, bishopspost.com.
Are you tired of looking at those old, worn-out floors? Have you been dreaming of new hardwood floors? Well, then you should start dreaming about Boardwalk Hardwood. It's their annual warehouse sale going on right now through the end of September at all 4 locations. At Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, half off new floors. You can get half off inventory and factory specials and up to 25% off special order items. Their showrooms, 4 of them at Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, are filled with beautiful styles, great budgets, from timeless classics to modern designs and everything in between. Your home will look beautiful with gorgeous hardwood floors. Rich, stunning hardwood floors, courtesy of BoardwalkHardwood.com. For 25 years, Boardwalk has been your trusted, local, family-owned quality flooring provider. And if you need hardwood floors, it's their annual warehouse sale now through the end of September at all 4 locations. Boardwalk Hardwood or boardwalkhardwood.com.
Nestled in the heart of the Hill neighborhood is the Hill Cigar Company. Stop on in, see the selection of cigars the Hill Cigar Company has to offer. While you're in the store, check out their cigar lounge in the back. Whether you're new to cigars or an aficionado, the Hill Cigar Company is the perfect shop for you. The Hill Cigar Company at 5360 Southwest Avenue. Give them a call at 314-776-4455. A cigar for every connoisseur.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Truck drivers, have you been searching for a more reliable driving job? Get the paychecks and predictability you need as a Schneider driver. Schneider's large selection of driving jobs means you can get the home time that suits your schedule. Choose from daily, weekly, monthly, or sometime in between. Plus, Schneider drivers have access to great benefits with a 401k match and a 24/7 support team. Get the keys to a better driving job. Search openings near you and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com.
Inland Marine Boats in Barnhart has been serving your boating needs for 38 years. Hi, I'm Jim, and this is my son Ryan.
Remember, you only get 18 summers with your kids.
Make the most of them with a boat from Inland Marine Boats, your Mercury Marine dealer.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella Windows specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a Banner Day.
The Bommarito Automotive Group is Missouri's #1 automotive group. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online today at bommarito.com.
Want a song? Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Welcome back, everybody. I can't remember a first 8 or 9 days of September that have given us this little delicious taste of fall. And of course, in typical St. Louis fashion, we'll be back up to 90 over the next weekend. But gosh darn it, we are enjoying it now. We enjoyed it over the weekend. And it really is been a very nice way to ease into September. September song, famous, of course, sung by some of the great voices of our time, including somebody like Frank Sinatra. I happen to like Willie Nelson's version of this song. See what you think. It's kind of fun to hear his voice with a piano as the accompaniment. We're so used to hearing him with guitar. I think it's kind of fun, and I think it's a really beautiful rendition of that song.
Yeah, you wouldn't think like Willie Nelson, almost elegant. I mean, just it's a really different look to him. That's really great.
Although he does do a really good job at the ballad. Do you remember that song "Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain" that he did was that Diane Cannon? Yeah. From the movie Honeysuckle Rose, is that right? I think I'm getting into the cobwebs of my brain, but yes, that's one of my favorite duets. I think it's a beauty. Quote of the day today: we mentioned earlier that Amy Coney Barrett, the Supreme Court Justice, has been making some interview rounds. She'd been pretty kept to herself, but she has written a new book, and She sat down with Nora O'Donnell, her first TV interview since her appointment on the court, and here's what she had to say. Yeah, it was. I thought it was a good interview. There was another one she did that's on the podcast, the Free Press podcast with Barry Weiss, and I got to listen to part of it. I'll have to listen to the rest of it later on today as well.
Yeah, I still remember her her confirmation in 2020, and it was really volatile because the Democrats, like, they criticized the GOP for rushing to fill the vacancy, you know, because of the death of Judge Ginsburg. Despite blocking a vote on the President Obama's nominee, Merrick Garland, in 2016. And that was really front page stuff for a long time. So
yeah, I got to hear Justice Scalia speak a number of years ago. And, you know, the thing that surprises people, because we just, I think, we kind of get simplistic about our thinking about this. And we're like, oh, and we think about where they are on the political spectrum or who appointed them or who didn't appoint them. They generally are the best and brightest legal minds in the entire country. And there's a lot of bright legal minds in the country. And so we try to apply to them that they think like a politician does. And in many cases, they actually don't, even though their decisions can have big political consequences in many cases. And certainly the president would like to have somebody who's favorable with his positions, thinking in being in those. But there are really bright legal minds who, in Amy Coney Barrett's, she's getting some pushback from Republicans for acting independently. But of course, as the great Greg Willard said earlier, that's what she swore to God that she would do under that oath. And that's what she's supposed to do, is to think as one of the brightest legal minds and to have those minds balance each other in their decisions.
But with that said, a conservative is never going to nominate a left-leaning judge, and a liberal is never going to nominate a right-leaning judge.
Right. But as many people who have nominated those who are, again, think like politicians has discovered, great legal minds often don't think as linearly as we do in those areas. They think about them on a more case-by-case basis, which is why sometimes politicians get frustrated when they've given somebody an appointment and they don't follow in line with them in lockstep.
That's why, like, you know, I brought up the case, like, if you're a Republican strategist, why wouldn't you go to 77-year-old Clarence Thomas and ensure at least someone that could be on your side? Or with Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg, why didn't they get to her before?
Because I think, to Greg's point, and I think to the point I'm sort of trying to make, probably not as effectively, is they should be independent thinkers. They should not let somebody come in. And so even though the party and the people and those of us who vote a certain way want our person on our team to be the one that's represented, they should make the decision based on their own set of ethics and what they see as their role and their capability of being effective in that role.
The whole concept of, you know, I always joke that it's the job security, the people, the most job security in their jobs are play-by-play broadcasters and Supreme Court justices. I don't know. I mean, if that's a great thing, that a lot of them can be really physically compromised and some even mentally compromised, and they still keep their job. I understand why they did it, but boy, that's tough.
Yeah, it's like a lot of things in life. There's an argument to be made for and against, but for now, at least, that is certainly how it is.
Yeah, some of them, boy, at the end of their careers, not great, not great at all.
A lot of you weighing in on, we talked about early. Frank brought it up as his first topic in the opening dialogue about the baseball theft, shall we say, from the irate at best, unstable at worst woman who screamed her way into getting a baseball bat from a father. And Jill, you are, regarding the baseball incident, you are totally wrong. Frank is spot on. No rules for grabbing a foul ball. That was wrong. A couple other people. Jill, Frank's right about this. You don't get it.
No, there were some on the other side too. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, and more of you did say different versions of, nope, de-escalation is always the answer. This is where we need to be. So we appreciated all you guys weighing in on that as
Interesting.
well.
I went back and did like an informal poll with people in our office. I went to Greg Willard, and then I went to Joe Davis, and I went to Lily, and they all said they would have kept the ball. But, look, there's a legitimate point to what you said too. So
yeah, and I'm not saying in all cases I would not have kept the ball. I'm just saying he gave a reason to us based on what he was experiencing in real time there. Yeah. That as a father, that he made a decision and why he made that decision. And I think that we owe him the respect as a human being to say that he gets to make the right decision.
And
in
look
that
how
case
it
for
worked
him.
out. The kid got a bat. Oh, by the way, along these lines of bizarre things happening at sporting events, Connor, you're really familiar with this, I'm sure. It wasn't on the TV broadcast, but at the Mizzou game, the young man came out to kick a 45-yard field goal and was going to make, was it $45,000 if he made it?
I think it was $25,000 for a 45-yard field goal. So to be fair,
he had no chance.
He's not making that field goal.
And he is an amputee. Okay.
Yes.
And so instead of attempting it to win the money, he kicked it at the Kansas bench, and then he lifted up his shirt and said FKU.
Well, the shirt actually had that written on it. So it was that he made a big show of it, which is great.
And now they've started a GoFundMe. And Connor, I don't know if you've looked this morning, but I know as of last night he had over $4,000 raised.
I haven't seen the latest figures. But
in fact, we may get this young man on because a friend of mine came up to me at the race yesterday and said, hey, I know this guy. So I'm going to check to see if we can get this guy on. But
yep, passions run hot in that, the greatest of all rivalries, for sure. It was an interesting game. Not the first half. I'm glad where we ended up for sure at the end of that game. Hey, speaking of games, we're going to have Randy Naughton coming up in just a couple of minutes talking about a fun decision she made as it relates to football and the team that is nearest and dearest to her heart. She got to see an incredible game yesterday. We're going to have her on to talk about that in just a couple of minutes. Premier Heating and Cooling. You guys have heard me say so many times what an incredible job they do. And I was just talking to a friend who is a fan, and they pointed out to me, I was talking about, isn't it nice how you can throw the windows open? And she said, oh, Jill, that's crazy. I have terrible allergies, and fall allergies, the hay fever, they are really starting to ramp up. I don't have the luxury of doing that. But what they do have is the ability to have a heating and cooling system that is designed to help limit those allergens that come into your house that many folks suffer from. So many millions of people in the St. Louis area, and many of you, I'm sure, as well. And that's the April Air products that Premier Heating and Cooling have. If you suffered through another allergy season and thought there has to be a better way to get this stuff out of the air from making me suffer, it's worth having the conversation. I recommend you reach out to them today. PremierHeatingCooling.net, 636-916-1122.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
Our stretch of fall-like weather is coming to an end after today. You can still get out and enjoy the cooler start that we have to your Monday and an afternoon high of 78 degrees. Still warm in the afternoon because of that sun directly overhead and few clouds to block it. Tonight, the temperatures falling into the 50s and expect a warm up through the rest of the week. 90s are coming our way soon. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast for the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
It's Miller Furniture's Labor Day clearance event going on now through September 9th.
I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture and Mattress, your home for quality American-made furniture since 1927. Right now, you'll save up to 75% off our list price on all in-stock furniture and up to 50% off select custom orders at our Belleville, Fairview Heights, Lake St. Louis, and Ellisville showrooms.
Plus, shop our Stickley galleries in Fairview Heights and Belleville and take 40% off MSRP on all in in stock and custom order Stickley furniture. We have new and fresh looks on display like FlexSteel leather reclining sofas with power headrests and lumbar support, or our unique heirloom quality Amish-made furniture.
Are you ready to sleep better and save big? Right now, save up to $800 on select adjustable mattress sets from Tempur-Pedic and Stearns & Foster. Or get half-price Chatham & Wells mattresses with the purchase of an adjustable base.
Don't miss our Labor Day clearance event going on now through September 9th. And check out Miller Furniture on Facebook for additional sales offers and new showroom arrivals.
At Miller Furniture, we put the family in furniture.
Truck drivers and owner-operators, there's never been a better time to team up at Schneider. We have more team-friendly loads than ever, including express delivery parcel freight that offers great miles with no delays to keep the wheels turning. Plus, for a limited time, company team drivers may be eligible for a sign-on bonus of up to $16,000. Owner-operator teams may qualify for a $10,000 incentive. Explore team driver positions at SchneiderJobs.com and search team contracting jobs at SchneiderOwnerOperators.com.
The University of Missouri St. Louis is committed to providing top-ranked education. More than 80% of our students receive financial aid. At UMSL, more is what moves us. Find your more and explore your financial aid options at more.umsl.edu.
How do you separate estate planning from elder law? You don't, because they're so intertwined. Let's face it, we're all getting older, and you need to make these decisions today, whether it's for your parents, for yourself, or for future generations. Rudy Beck, Jay Lennox, and Carolyn Stolzer have been navigating these important decisions for more than 50 years. Beck, Lennox, Stolzer, Estate Planning, and Elder Law. Call them, 636-946-7899 or beckelderlaw.com. You can thank me later.
We hear so much about quality time, but it's the quantity of time that we want. Every member of the family gets enlisted in so many activities. As quality time usurps quantity, there is so little time to enjoy the freedoms that make America the envy of the world. If we could only unplug, disengage, and spend quality time together, well, we can, in an RV. Escape into a whole new world in a Byerly RV.
Byerly RV.
Wherever you go, you're always at home in a Byerly RV.
Since 1974, Permajack of St. Louis has been helping residential and commercial owners protect their biggest investment. From successfully solving foundation structural problems to making sure basements remain dry, Permajack has performed tens of thousands of projects on both sides of the river, utilizing state-of-the-art technology, techniques, and equipment. Permajack of St. Louis has done it with honesty and integrity, never recommending anything outside of what you really need. For many repairs, Permajack provides a transferable life of structure warranty, all while Permajack of St. Louis has earned a BBB A+ rating and accreditation for foundation settlement, bowed or buckling walls, cracks in your foundation, walls or bricks, or basement waterproofing. Choose the hometown family-owned team at Permajack of St. Louis. Schedule your free inspection and estimate at permajackofstlewis.com. That's permajackofstlewis.com. Permajack, solid as rock.
Gingham's Homestyle Restaurant has been a staple in St. Charles for 35 years. Our comfortable, casual atmosphere offers some of the best comfort food you've ever had. Customers might know our delicious breakfast, but you can have what you want anytime you want with our full menu 24 hours a day. Nothing warms your heart like Gingham's famous vegetable soup, and we can cater your event too. If you like homestyle food and great friendly service, you'll love Gingham's Restaurant in St. Charles. 636-946-0266 or ginghamsrestaurant.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Frank and Jill Show. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano, Connor McCarthy here as well. Really enjoyed having you be part of the conversation on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line 84126. As always, really fun to have us start our week with each of you this week. And it's always fun to start our week or spend any day of the week with our friend Randy Naughton. Randy, if you've spent any time with her at all, you know that she loves St. Louis, and she also loves her hometown of Buffalo, New York, and maybe even more than her hometown, she loves the Buffalo Bills so much that she made a pretty major decision this year as it relates to her fandom. Randy's joining us now. Randy, for those who don't know, tell everybody what you decided to do this football season.
I did a crazy thing and purchased season tickets to see the Buffalo Bills this year with my sister.
So the question is, when you're down 15 in the final 4 minutes in that football crazy city of Buffalo, what percentage of fans do you think had left the building?
A ton of them. And I will confess, myself included, my sister and I were there literally from we started out this new tailgating spot with a new parking spot, and they said get here 5 hours before kickoff,
Oh my God.
which was 3 p.m. And so when they were down by 15, and then I keep reading stats today, they had a 0.9% chance of winning the game. My sister was over it. She said, that's it, we're leaving. So we, along with thousands of other people, migrated out of the stadium thinking for sure they would lose that game. We were listening on the radio on the way back to her house, and of course we couldn't believe it. And then we got back to her house just in time for the winning field goal, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, I wish I would have stayed in hindsight, of course, but I wasn't about to get into an argument with my sister about it. So, it's one of those things like, oh, I missed it, but I didn't really miss it. I was there for the game. And, Josh Allen called everybody out in his post-game interview. It's like, well, have faith next time. And he's right. I told my sister we are not leaving till it's over for the rest of this season.
Oh, so good. Of course, you know me well enough, Randy, to know I want more details on the tailgating. What you found some new place to tailgate? They needed you there that early. Why was it so special? And tell us a little about that.
Well, my sister normally parked in a different place, and as you can imagine, they're building a brand new stadium, so there are 1,000 fewer parking spots around Highmark Stadium. So everybody's trying to improvise. And my sister was in this other spot last year and years previous, and we decided to join this tailgating club called the Water Buffalo Club. Mm-hmm. They're the ones who wear those goofy Fred Flintstone hats. And they said, oh, we're at the Big Tree Inn, which is an iconic watering hole in Orchard Park, New York. And so if you want, we'll reserve a spot for you. We paid for the whole season in advance. And it was, and she said, but you need to get here 5 hours before. I'm like, wait a minute. If it's reserved, why are we having to pay, or get there so early? But anyway, we were pretty much blocked in and landlocked by buses and everything else. So it's like, well, I guess we'll just kind of enjoy the scenery. And I just put some silly little compilation video on social media, on all my social media channels, and you'll see it's, people dress like crazy. It's very much like a Chiefs game where people take it very, very seriously, and they have a great time. So I had a really good time people watching.
I think the most popular sports figure ever from Buffalo would have to be Jim Kelly. But
yeah,
if Josh continues and he gets his Super Bowl and he actually wins one, unlike Jim, he's going to be the most popular Buffalo Bill human being ever, correct?
And I think everybody, including Jim Kelly, would be fine with that.
Yeah.
I think everybody would be fine with it because, we were watching the game last night, and of course, rolling your eyes, maybe a few choice words here and there, because the Ravens consist of two people, the running back and the quarterback, and we're like, oh my God, they're just shredding the Bills, and it took, the Bills defense did not look great in the first half. But you're just rolling your eyes thinking, oh man, they got to step it up. And who the heck knew that would happen? Derrick Henry is a monster. Lamar Jackson is a monster. They were making the big plays they needed to make. But I saw in the post-game interview, I think it was Rodney Harrison, was shredding the Ravens, saying they gave up. There was no discipline. They didn't show up. And I'm like, whoa, these are the Ravens he's talking about like that. But you know what? All the props to the Bills. And every airport I walked through this morning, there was a lot of go Bills and a lot of weary and bleary people. And you know what? I don't know. Cowboys move over. This might be America's team now. Yes, I said it, Chiefs fans.
I love it, Randy. Before we let you go, you're 1 week into this. I love the idea of just saying, I'm going to go for it. This is something I've dreamed about, and the last year in this stadium, family to connect with on all these home games.
Yeah.
But now that you've actually done the weekend trip in and out for the game with the fun, the tailgating, do you think you're going to have to need some endurance to get through the NFL season this year?
No way, because this team is giving me all the energy I need. I mean, I literally got in and out of Buffalo in less than 24 hours. I'm back home. I left there this morning at 6 a.m. and I landed back in St. Louis at 8:30. I'm back home. I didn't get much sleep, and a nap is definitely in my future, but yeah, I've got all my flights. I'm ready to go, barring any unforeseen circumstances or buffalo blizzards, which we know are coming. I'm all in, and I cannot wait. My daughter thinks I'm nuts. And you know what? I probably am, but I'm doing it.
Well, it would be great to see them do it this year because Marv Levy's 100 years old. It'd be nice to have him living when the Bills win their Super Bowl. I'm definitely rooting for your Bills. There's no doubt about it, Randy.
Oh, thanks, Frank. I love it. Yeah, Marv Levy, I can't believe he's still around, which is amazing. And I think, a lot of the guys are trying to do it for him, It's and everybody. This fan base has endured so much. And, ever since the Scott Norwood wide right field goal attempt in the Super Bowl, I've hated field goals my whole life after that. I think I'm starting to like field goals again.
Yeah, that was something else with Matt Prater coming on at age 41, kicking it as time running out. Hey,
Right.
Randy, we appreciate you helping us out to get some real insight on the Buffalo Bills and their big victory. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
All righty.
She's the best. That was a good idea to reach out and talk to her. So thank you for that, Sir Frank. Here's another good idea. Reach out to our friends at Woods Basement Systems. We get through these big rains. A lot of us have had water find its way into our homes. And then hope springs eternal. And we think, that was just because it was a crazy rain or because of some unforeseen circumstance. We try to pretend it won't happen again. And then it does, only worse the next time, only more property damage, only more stuff gets wet in the basement. And then we have stuff like mold and mildew. And then we're in real trouble. Do yourself a favor, be proactive on this. Say, you know what, I need to get the experts in here. I need the expert advice because information is power when it comes to taking care of your home and understanding how to protect your home from the insidious water damage that is so unfortunately common in our St. Louis area. That's unfortunate that it's common, but fortunately, somebody who's been helping people with water issues in their basements and with all things basement-y, Woods Basement System since way back in 1986, they're on your team as well. Reach out to them today, 618-708-4055, woodsbasementsystems.com.
Looking for a great local restaurant recommendation?
Missy Mo.
Tune in to the Kuno Food Service weekly special during the Frank and Jill Show, Thursdays at 11. Hear from the best of the best restaurant owners in town. Only on the Frank and Jill Show, Thursdays at 11. Presented by Kuno Food Service, right here on the Big 550 KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
Your dentures no longer fit? Maybe you're missing a tooth or several teeth. Visit Dr. Bowen for Simply Secure Dentures and Dental Implants. The cutting-edge, high-quality dental implants that replace all the teeth in your mouth, and it starts as low as $7,000, not the $35,000 that others charge. If you're only missing a few teeth, Dr. Bowen can permanently replace those with something you don't have to take in and out of your mouth. Learn more at simplysecuredentures.com and get the care you need and the teeth you want at Bowen Dental Care or simplysecuredentures.com.
The big, beautiful tax bill just passed. Do you know how these changes will affect your financial plan? What changes has your financial advisor made to take advantage of these opportunities before they expire? Join me, Kevin Lloyd, for my next tax workshop, 314-641-1010. Learn how these changes can benefit you and your family. 314-641-1010.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPLA, registered investment advisor, member FINRA, SIPC.
You're selling your home, and I want to buy it. This is Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I am ready to pay top dollar for your home. No contingencies, no inspections, no monkey business. I buy your home no matter the condition or location, and you walk away with cash. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867, 314-283-0867, or at robangproperties.com. That's ROBANG properties.com.
Over the years, Lordo's has become part of the family for many, many St. Louis families. For 80 years, they've been helping St. Louis families with all of the jewelry needs, whether it's the diamond ring, a diamond ring, maybe something for St. Patrick's Day, something for an anniversary, Valentine's Day. Throughout the years and throughout the calendar, it's Lordo's as your go-to. Whether it's men or women, you want to repurpose something or buy something new, Lordo's Diamonds in the heart of Ladue on Clayton Road. You see, it's a family business. The family's been running it for years, and they learned it from their father, who learned it from their father. And so that family jeweler, it's where generations of St. Louisans go. Grandparents have gone there. Your grandkids will go there. right there in Ladue on Clayton Road across the street from a Norman Rockwell-esque firehouse is Lordo's Diamonds. Go in, make a friend, and make them your family jeweler because you can thank me later. 314-432-8008 or online, lordosdiamonds.com.
Andy from Hats and Stuff. The summer's heat is starting to break and the kids are back to school, and we're gearing up for an exciting fall with a great selection of NFL and NHL hoodies, ball caps, and so much more. We still have great deals on Cardinals and Mizzou merchandise for the entire family at fantastic prices.
We have a huge selection of St. Louis-inspired graphic tees, all at $10. And don't forget about the cowboy hats.
Located at Westport Plaza across from the Drunken Fish and the Kobe Steakhouse and the Soulard Farmers Market on Saturdays. Hats and Stuff. Good stuff at really great prices.
Watch your favorite team, eat your favorite food. It's the Village Bar. You've heard about the world-famous cheeseburger. Stop by and check it out. Even better, bring your friends on your way to the game, after the game, or just watching the game. Food, sports, and a cold beer. We'll see you at the Village Bar.
Hey, it's Julie Buck for our friends at Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution, and they've been in St. Louis for over 20 years with 2 locations, one at Clayton and Lindbergh, and the other one just west of 270 on Olive. If you've got your own business and you want to have a better banking experience, look no further than Triad Bank. Their mission is to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services to you and your business. For more, go to triadbanking.com.
Wow, Howard Richards, very passionate. Mike Kelly on the call. The pride of St. Mary's, Jamal Roberts with the back-breaking touchdown. 13 carries, Connor, 143 yards, and of course that went 63. That's amazing.
You don't always hear Howard get that.
No, you're
that
right.
Passionate, but.
But yeah, I was listening right before. I'm sure you were listening too, or you went back. And Howard said, "Boy, you know what? I think if he can get to the outside, he could break one." And then boom, it just happens like that. How about a little tiny St. Mary's High School, South Side, producing 2 athletes like Jamal Roberts and then Kevin Coleman Jr., who you thought was the star of the game.
I mean, he was. That 4th down conversion, the big play at the end of the first half, he was great.
10 catches, 126. And then we have Brett Norfleet, who we all always liked, but sometimes he didn't see the ball enough or couldn't stay on the field. 7 catches, 76 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Connor, he's about 6'7". He's boy, what a weapon he is.
Great game. You didn't go down there. I mean, I don't know what were you waiting for? You're going to go down for the South Carolina game?
Yeah, I'm at the South Carolina game. Had a couple of events here in town this week, but that was something else. And then let's talk about Bo Perbula. This is what's kind of interesting. He goes 30 of 39, 3 touchdowns. And Coach Drink, who went out of his way when people would criticize Brady, you watch your step and stay away, don't cut down the criticism. With Bo, he's saying, hey, it's only 2 games. He's kind of like...
He's trying to cap the enthusiasm.
Yes, yeah. Boy, where's his weakness right now? I know, granted, it is 2 games, but still. How about this stat? 15 of 18 for 177 yards on 3rd and 4th downs.
He was great. Other than the fumble, he didn't have any mistakes. I mean, they really played a lot better. I thought the score kind of flattered Kansas a little bit, but it was a great game.
You're right.
By the end of it.
And then, of course, Jalen Daniels, who had some good moments, but he also had some not great moments. So he did okay. He finishes 18 of 30, 2 touchdowns and a pick, and then he runs for 29. Anything else jump out at you about the game besides the great passionate crowd?
The crowd was great. The construction, I'm still not used to, is showing up on the screen every time they pan to it. Although I should be, right? That south end zone was under construction for a while. No, great game, great atmosphere. I had a couple people that I knew that were there, and they said it was great. I wish I would have had the opportunity to go because I didn't get any opportunities to go to Mizzou, Kansas when I was there. They weren't playing. So, if they I hope they continue this going, and I'll try to get up for one of those games.
What about South Carolina? Is that like a tough ticket for someone to get if you're not a student now, or is that
for South Carolina? I don't know, but for Mizzou, Kansas, I heard it was. So I hope. I don't think there's not currently plans to come back. Right, they're going to go to Lawrence next year, and then some games in Arrowhead in like 5 years. But that's not the same. So I hope they do come back to campus.
We should say congratulations to Illinois, who won at Duke and won in a convincing fashion. They pulled away late. They are ranked 9th in the country. They're getting great quarterback play. And Brett Bielema, he knows how to win games in the Big Ten. Wasn't so good at Arkansas, but at Wisconsin and now Illinois, he is winning at a high rate. So congratulations to them. All right, that'll do it for this edition of the program. Oh, quick programming note. Thursday, thanks to the great people at Cuna, we have our weekly special. And one of the great Italian restaurants we've had in our town, Lombardo's. Maybe the inventor of toasted ravioli in St. Louis. They have Carmine's, the steakhouse, and Lombardo's at the airport. And, of course, the one at Union Station also. Okay, coming up next will be John Carney and Julie Buck. We'll take a break, and we'll be back in 22 hours.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.